Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for coming. For those that don't know me, my name is Mark from Off-Broadway Travel, and this is the lovely Anna Bacanello from Azure. I think you're also covering C-Cloud, which obviously you'll get onto in a little bit. So, yeah, thank you for coming along. I'm going to hand straight over to Anna. We've got about a half an hour presentation. There is some time for Q&As at the end, although if you do have a burning question, then feel free to raise your hand and it's up to you whether you take it or not. But yeah, without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Anna and enjoy the presentation.
Okay. Oh, there's people still coming in. Please feel free to sit down. And I just need a lovely lady in blue there. If you can hear me, you can hear me fine. Should my voice start to drop, would you wave madly at me? And then I'll talk louder again so that everybody can hear. Now, before I start, how many of you have been to Italy before? Way wonderful! So I don't really need to convert you. It is the most amazing country on the planet. Although I could be slightly biased because my full name is Anna Maria Evelina Adriana Teresa Caterina Bacanello di Azzicalvi. So, Italy is not just a passion, it's my home, and the Italian brochure is my project. So the brochure that you have on the desks is the current brochure, but the new one is coming out in February, and it's even better. So ask the lovely people at Off-Broadway Travel at the end if you're interested, and they will send you the new brochure. Because what we've done is we've looked at off-the-beaten-track Italy. If you go to Amalfi in high season, you can barely move now. So we've got some amazing alternatives and lots of small, independent boutique hotels run by families or dusty counts, which are really, really fabulous. So for me, it is the real Italy, the Italy that you want to see and really explore. So I'm going to take you on a journey, and the hardest part of this journey is I've got half an hour to talk about my favorite place on the planet. So they will come in at 20 past, and I'll know I've got 10 minutes to wind up. So I'm going to take you on this trip. I don't want to obscure. So it's the most fantastic country. It might be a very thin peninsula, but my goodness, do we have so much to offer in it. So amazing cultural destinations, art coming out of your ears, superb food, incredible gastronomy, some of the most corrupt politicians on the planet, some of the most good-looking footballers. So we have it all, and let's not forget Ferrari, Lamborghini, we've got lots of other incredible things to see and enjoy. And the beauty is the Italians are such lively, excited people, very excited most of the time, and when you come, they really look after you and they make sure that your holiday is absolutely amazing. Now, my philosophy is fly cheap, stay chic. So not only can you fly on British Airways and all the international airlines, but we also do all the others, and we have an amazing train service. We have fantastically fast trains, the Freccia trains, or their big rivals, the Italo trains, and you can go from Venice to Florence to Rome on these superb trains. Eat your heart out. The French, they're faster than the Eurostar, and a superb way of getting around the country, and at very reasonable cost, because we have these two companies constantly fighting for your business. The rail fares, if you book in advance, are magnificent value for money, and it's very little to upgrade. So we're going to start in Venice, because I have so little time, I'm going to have to whiz through La Serenissima, as she is known, a spectacular destination for romantics of all ages. When you go down the Grand Canal, it's a kaleidoscope of different architectural styles. Look at the figures, 117 islands, 400 bridges over 200 canals. It's a joy to walk around. Avoid high season, you can barely walk in high season, there are so many people there. So go a little bit off season. In the beginning of December, when the mist is rising off the water, it's absolutely stunning. Or early May, incredible time to go. And everything happens on the Grand Canal. So you see the weddings go past, you see the dustbin men go past, everything is happening there. You will have the most expensive coffee of your life sitting in a restaurant by the side of the Grand Canal, but it is so worth it. Just make that one coffee last as long as you possibly can, which is really great. Now, my father, when he married my mother's family can be traced back to the Borgias. It's a whole bunch of, well, about politicians and poisoners. And he thought with a name like Bacanello, he must have a similar heritage. So he went to one of those heritage companies, and they managed to trace his lineage to a brothel in Venice. So the brothel now apparently is, again, a very expensive coffee shop in St. Paul's Square. But the beauty of Venice is not just the main squares. It's coming off a little bit, going down the Sleepy Calle at the back, and finding the little restaurants where the Venetians actually eat, where they don't, look for tourist trade. And we have a beautiful hotel here. We've got some wonderful hotels, the Gritti, the Cipriani, all the famous ones. But I'm always on the lookout for something that's a little bit different. And there's a hotel here called the Eureka. You can't forget it. Eureka! I found the Eureka. The lady who owns this hotel spent 6 years trying to find a little palazzo to do up. When she found it, that's why she called it the Eureka, because she went, Eureka, I finally found it. And it's a 10-room, 4-star hotel. It's incredibly beautiful on the inside, but on the outside it has a private garden at the back. Something very, very rare in Venice itself. You go out, it's got no restaurant, but who needs a restaurant? You're surrounded by restaurants. And there are little museums nearby that you wouldn't normally go to, which are a little bit different. This is the real Venice. This is where my cousin lives. So this is an area where the Venetians live themselves. There's my cousin. And he's a great source of information of where to eat, because he used to be the food and beverage manager of a big hotel, but now he finds me these little places, and if you go, I will always recommend a good place to eat where other people don't go. If you've never been to Venice before, and you want to do it slightly differently, let me recommend a Uniworld river cruise. Now, I appreciate Venice is not on a river. This is very, very strange for a river cruise. But they do fantastic 2-for-1 offers throughout the year. It's a luxury vessel. You get all your food, wine, and everything included on board, but some of the best excursions I have ever been on. And they sent me here. And I thought, really? I wanted to see somewhere that I'd never been before? And they send a Venetian back to Venice on a riverboat? My whole family came out to wave at me when I was there. But it is a fantastic way. They do 2 nights at Venice at the beginning. Then they take you out to the islands, Murano, Burano, and Torcello. And they moor in Torcello, the sleepy island, and you get to explore all of those. Then they take you across the lagoon, past many of these islands that nobody ever visits, and you go to Chioggia, which is on the mainland, and from there you go to the Po River Delta, which I've lived in Venice a long time, and I didn't know anything about the Delta, with the birds and the wildlife. Then you go back to Venice for 2 days. It's an amazing base, and all that for less than it would cost you for 2 nights in a 5-star hotel in Venice. So that's a little tip if you've never been to Venice before. The only thing I would say is the coffee on board is dire, but I went out every day and I found a nice little coffee shop that was really brilliant. And Murano, Burano, and Torcello is so worth the visit. So we've left Venice because we're moving fast here, and we're going to take a 2-hour drive up from Venice into the Dolomites itself. So, so beautiful. And there's a wonderful, wonderful town there called San Cassiano. So you go through Cortina d'Ampezzo, which if any of you watch Ski Sunday, that's where all the women's downhills are. And it's a beautiful, beautiful town in the Dolomites itself. But go over the pass, down the other side to San Cassiano, and you have this lovely village, basically at the foot of the Sella Ronda, which is the superb Dolomite area. In the winter, the skiing is amazing. I'm not very good advert for it. I was taken out by a snowboarder just before Christmas, but in the summer, it is just the most beautiful area to go to get away from the heat. In Venice, it can be 36 degrees in the summer. You go up here, it's a nice 27, 28. Beautiful hiking, amazing walks, ballooning if you like ballooning, or relaxation. There's some great spas there as well, and some lovely, really small family-run alpine properties like this one here. That's actually it in the winter, the Chiesa Salares. Again, family-run, superb, all that wood furniture just outside San Cassiano, but with magnificent walks all round it, very close to the town itself, which there are 7 Michelin stars within a 10-kilometer radius. But apart from those, other wonderful restaurants which have to vie with the Michelin ones, so the food is really, really good. So it's great. That was the Dolomites. Now we're moving on to the lakes themselves. I'm sure many of you have been to the lakes. Lake Garda, with its superb thermal springs, Huge lake, 36 miles long, so the best way to see the lake is when you have a property just above it, looking down onto the lake itself. And here there's a very interesting property. It's a wellness retreat. A wellness retreat with a Michelin-starred restaurant. So I presume if you're on the lemon diet, you're put in a completely different room, or you can eat in the vegetable trattoria and the restaurant itself. But the views are absolutely stunning. You go down to Spesa, it's just there, something a little bit different. But if you want to get away from the world, relax, unwind, they have 3 swimming pools, thermal spas, absolutely everything. It's a wonderful retreat. So something a bit different. I have a property just above Lake Como, so I go through Lake Como every year, and I love Lake Como. It's probably my favourite lake, if I'm allowed favourite lakes. Here, I'm not usually a huge fan of grand hotels, but the Grand Hotel Tremezzo is very, very special. Yeah. It's run by a superb family. Valentina is one of the loveliest people ever, and they have 3 swimming pools. One behind in the gardens, one in the spa indoors, and one on the lake itself. Has anybody swum in Lake Como? It's freezing cold. I dived in one time and I didn't realize, and I came up and all my friends were looking, they were going, how is it? I went, fabulous. They all dived in and I ran a mile. But the swimming pool is heated. It's on the lake itself. So when the boats go past, it wobbles a little bit, so you feel like you're actually swimming in the lake in lovely warm water, and they've made a little beach on the front there. It's surrounded by little boutique shops and small restaurants, so you can eat out just by walking out, and the ferry port, so you can explore the whole, is right in front. So you can go across the Bellagio, you can go to all the different places, Dongo, where they hung Mussolini. It's a great, great place. But why are we going to Portofino and Sanremo? Because my father went to Portofino. He was engaged to another woman, and he was there, and he was staying in the Splendido, and he saw this beautiful woman walking down the terrace. And seeing as his girlfriend had been delayed several days, he went down, had a word with her, got on really well. Then my grandmother appeared, and 6 months later they were married, and a year later I appeared. So for me, the Splendido is one of the top hotels in Italy, because without the Splendido and the magic of Portofino, I wouldn't be here today. But it is a superb hotel, and it's the only place to stay in Portofino. However, if I'm really honest with you, I prefer Sanremo. Sanremo on the Italian Riviera is only 35 minutes from Nice Airport. It's on the other side of, you've got the Côte d'Azur, then you go across the frontier and you get to Sanremo. So same microclimate as the Côte d'Azur. Their season runs from March to the end of November, beginning of December, because the weather can be so good. The Grand Hotel here is a splendid Grand Hotel, caught in an era but renovated beautifully. The beaches are not crowded. The town itself has so much going for it. Lovely shops, wonderful artisans. It's got the small feel of the Côte d'Azur, but without being pretentious in any way. It's absolutely stunning, and that's the lovely Grand Hotel there. So, we're leaving the north now. We're going to go to central Italy, to Florence and Tuscany. Now, I was at university in Florence, so I love Florence. And I was sent there to study Dante and Petrarca, both amazing poets. Unrequited love, but that apparently makes the poet even better because he never gets what he wants. So he keeps producing beautiful poetry. And you have Florence itself, the seat of the Renaissance. For me, there is more art per square foot in Florence than in any other European city, including Paris. So please don't go to Florence for 2 nights. Give Florence at least 3 nights, because there is so much to do, so much to see. And the river runs through the center of Florence, and that's the Arno. And we've been cleaning up the Arno for years, so we've actually got fish in it now. It's still a strange color, but it will change shortly, I hope. And from Florence, you can go out on fly drive itineraries into the Tuscan countryside and explore the vineyards and towns like Siena and all the mountain villages. So as a combination holiday, it is brilliant. And finish up on the coast, because we have a superb coast in Tuscany too. I studied Renaissance art, and I have to say there is no better place to be based than in Florence itself, because you've got Botticelli, you've got all the great painters. And if you go to the Uffizi Gallery, you can watch the progression of Renaissance art from the beginning. So, for example, Fra Lippo Lippi, he was the beginning of the change. The first pictures you see, they're all deeply religious, looking up at the stars. And then, if you look at his angels, they're really mischievous. And you can see humanity is coming in. It's the most beautiful museum. But that's one of so many things to do in Florence itself. You are spoilt for choice where to stay, so there's lots of magnificent properties. When I was at university, I lived off Piazza Santa Croce. So it's not the main square, but it's a superb, superb square. At night you have the jazz saxophonist playing, you've got amazing restaurants there. It's got so much atmosphere. Is it 20 minutes already?
No.
Oh, good.
Sorry, I'm just
got to stop. I'm doing my best here, I'm doing my best here. And I lived where the arrow is, Via delle Sitelle, Spinsters Row, not very auspicious at the time, but every morning I had to walk past Dante, who I was studying. And if you look at this picture, you can see Dante looks terribly sad. And you know why? He was thrown out of Florence because he belonged to the wrong political party, and he's buried in Ravenna. So he was never able to come back. So the beauty and the wonder of Florence was lost to him. So I used to pass him every day and think, I'm so lucky to be in Florence. It is an amazing city, so much to do. And I really recommend the bicycle tour. It's very stable, you don't go very fast, but he's a brilliant guide, and he shows you places. And I was at university for 5 years in Florence. When I did this, I discovered places that I didn't know exist. And that's what's really important, going round a place with somebody who really knows it. He does walking tours too, if you don't like the cycling, but I really enjoyed the cycling, which was great. Wonderful hotels. This is my favorite in the center of Florence itself. It's the Brunelleschi. It's a 4-star, but it's right next to the Duomo. You turn right, and you're going to Piazza della Signoria. You turn left, you've got the Duomo. You're surrounded by all the main shopping roads, not good for the credit card. And it's 5 minutes from the Ponte Vecchio, the bridge that is wall-to-wall jewelry shops. Now, does anybody know why it's wall-to-wall jewelry shops? Because the Medici, who have a private corridor above that runs from the Uffizi Gallery to the Palazzo Pitti, so it was their way of getting from their offices, the Uffizi used to be their offices, to their palace. So they have this private corridor across the top, and they didn't like the smell of the food stalls underneath. Jewelry does not smell. So they changed it all into jewelry shops. And my partner can drag me across that bridge in less than 8 seconds. The Brunelleschi, a superb hotel right in the center, and they have 2 magnificent suites, one of which is the Jacuzzi pool suite at the top. Can you imagine having your glass of Prosecco, looking out at the Duomo and listening to the bells chime with Giotto's Tower? But there is another very special hotel, and this is in the hills above Florence, next to Piazzale Michelangelo. That's Piazzale Michelangelo, where you have the best view of Florence. I think 5 minutes further down the road, behind the Palazzo Pitti, you have the Villa Cora. I'm only going to show you a few seconds, because this is the best hotel video I have ever watched. The Villa Cora is an eclectic mix of the past and the present. It has a swimming pool. It has a garden full of roses, because the proprietor's wife was mad about roses. So in May, it is stunningly beautiful, and it makes a great base. But look at her face when she arrives. After that, I'm not sure she's actually just selling the hotel. Amazing, beautiful beautiful hotel because if you're on a fly drive, you cannot take your car into central Florence because it's a congestion charging zone. It'll cost you about 36 euros to park it overnight in one of their car parks. So if you did want to combine Florence and you rented a car, which is the best way to get around, you can park it for free in the hotels that are in the hills. So it makes a perfect base. From there, it's a 10-minute walk down to the town itself, and then they have a shuttle that brings you back. So it's a really beautiful base, and that swimming pool in the summer, when it's really, really hot, is absolutely magnificent. On the other side, in Fiesole, we also have a very spectacular little property, a little 4-star. Above there, you can see the 5-star Belmond, amazing hotel. Sharing the same car park is this little place called the Villa Fiesole. The Belmond is a 15th century convent with a facade by Michelangelo. The Villa Fiesole is a 16th century convent, but without the frontage by Michelangelo, half the price of the one behind, and an amazing experience. And again, you're just a short hop into the town itself. Then you go out into the Tuscan countryside to enjoy the fabulous villages that you have there. We can rent you a Ferrari for a day if you fancy that. If not, we can give you a Cinquecento, one of the old ones, which is really good fun, but the mechanic is in the car behind because it will break down. But it's an amazing way to see the countryside. We can take you on truffle hunting, everything that you could possibly want. And if you're into music, Andrea Bocelli sings in the Tuscan hills on 2 nights every year around his birthday. He's from a place called Laiatico, which nobody knows. It's an hour and a quarter from Florence. We will take you out there. We'll give you a lovely dinner in an agriturismo, take you to the concert afterwards, and bring you home before the traffic jam builds up. And he does it in the Teatro del Silenzio, the theatre of silence, because for 362, my maths is really bad, days of the year, it is completely silent. And Teatro del Silenzio means theatre of silence, and then it comes alive with the music of Andrea Bocelli. And I have been there, and I have to tell you, it is one of the most amazing experiences. And this year, for the first time ever, he's also going to be singing in Pompeii, in the middle of Pompeii, at the end of June. So we can arrange all those concerts for you. But most excitingly, new in the new brochure, not in the current brochure, we have Umbria, Emilia, and Marche. This is where you will see the real Italy, not that the other places are not real, they're absolutely superb, but an Italy that hasn't been super discovered or super exploited in any way. And it is really beautiful. And I've just come back from Le Marche, and I loved it. Small hotels, all of them with character, and the best place to go truffle hunting. And this is my colleague. He went truffle hunting with dogs. I got dressed in my designer jeans, my little kitten heels, and I thought, oh, here we go. And I got given a pig, an enormous pig called Alfonso. And you've never seen, I can't believe that a pig can run that fast. But when they smell the truffle, they go, and you're holding on to this pig with a lead in your designer jeans and kitten heels, running with this pig. The pig starts to dig, they give you an apple. As it gets to the truffle, you shove the apple in his mouth, divert him, and somebody comes and takes this enormously wealthy truffle away, and that's the last you see of it. A day with Alfonso, we were like this. We were so close, and I was covered in mud, and my outfit looked ridiculous, but it was such a great adventure. Most of the time, you will be truffle hunting with dogs, not pigs, but really worth doing. I'm not going to spend very long on Amalfi Ischia because I'm sure you know it really well. It's very difficult to find anything on Amalfi that's a little bit different and very exciting, but it is so beautiful. Please do not go in high season, you cannot move. So if you do go to Amalfi, please go in the low season when it's more or less yours. Lovely little hotel, recently renovated there called the Miramalfi, really beautiful, again, just outside Amalfi, very easy access, and from Amalfi you have the port that takes you by ferry to Positano, Sorrento, all those places, Capri and Ischia. Please don't forget Ischia. Everybody goes to Capri. And honestly, if the cruise boats are in and you're in Capri, you can't move at all. You go to Ischia. Ischia was a Roman spa town. So they've got thermal spas everywhere. It's green, it's lush, it's huge, and it's really beautiful. And you don't feel that you're in the middle of loads of tourism either. It is just lovely. And again, we have this really sweet hotel in the center with its thermal springs as well to go to. Sorry, I'm going fast because I can see the clock at the back there, which is really bad. So we're coming to the last part of my little presentation, and this is where I come from. So this is Matera and Maratea. Okay, my family are Venetian, but my heart and soul is in a place called Maratea. So you've got the Amalfi Coast, and then you've got Salerno, and then if you come down a little bit further, there's another coast, and it's very, very small. And this is the coast of Maratea. And the other side of this wonderful county called Basilicata, you have Matera, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, a place that is unique, and you will never see anything like it anywhere else, and it's absolutely beautiful. Now, the Amalfi Coast is very dramatic, but then so is the coast of Maratea. And I can't fit you all in, but my little apartment is up there, overlooking the port, really pretty port. Maratea is made up of 4 villages. So Maratea Porto, Maratea Villaggio, Fiumicello, and Marina di Maratea. And it hasn't been discovered. Our American cousins don't know where it is. And it is so beautiful. It is 2.5 hours transfer from Naples, 2 hours transfer from Lamezia, but British Airways is now flying into Salerno for the first time ever, and from Salerno it's 1 hour. Just hope not too many people find out about that. But it is really beautiful, and Maratea has the second biggest concrete Christ in the world after Rio de Janeiro. And we're talking a place nobody's heard of, and it is fantastically good. He is made of concrete, and the Count owns the concrete factory, which is probably why we have a concrete Christ, but it is really, really beautiful. He is facing the wrong direction, but they have got a story to explain that. It's not very realistic, but it's typically very Italian, and it is the most beautiful place. Surrounded by national parks, wonderful coastline, and a fabulous little hotel called the Santa Venere, and it's right on the coast itself in beautiful grounds, and you have wonderful walks. We don't have sand beaches here, they're pebble beaches like the Amalfi Coast, but it is just lovely. And it was in Basilicata that they filmed the last James Bond film, No Time to Die. And the whole of the film, before you get the credits, was filmed in Basilicata. And they were filming when I was there, and I've known the policeman there all my life, and he wouldn't let me go onto the set, and I haven't been discovered. So I'm just here now. But during that film, she comes up right in front of my apartment, and I was in a cinema at the time when I saw the film. Oh God, I'm doing really good. I'm almost there. I'm almost there. And I was in this cinema, and she comes up right in front of my apartment, and I jumped up and I went, "That's me, that's my apartment." And my brother went, "This is a public cinema, sit down." It's very, very sad. And then he drives her, and it looks like he's driving her 10 minutes down the road, but actually it's 2 hours to Matera. And has anybody been to Matera?
Yes.
Oh, isn't it incredible? What an incredible place. It is basically a whole town built on 2 giant rocks, i Sassi. Most of the accommodation is cave dwelling. So if you've got that pebbles bam bam urge and you want to stay in a hotel, which is a cave hotel, this is one of the best places to do it. And it is so beautiful. It is just unique. And it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site for its Roman underwater system, very hard to say. And he parks his car in the film just outside the Sant'Angelo Hotel. Now they have cave rooms and they have non-cave rooms, so if you don't want a cave room, you can have a non-cave room. Underfloor heating, marble bathrooms, but it's in a cave. It's absolutely wonderful, with views that are to drop dead die for and Neolithic tombs. And before I finish, I'm sharing my stand with Sea Cloud Cruising. And they do the most beautiful itineraries around Italy and up from Venice to Croatia as well. These are real sail ships. You don't have to sail it, but if you would like to try, you can go up the mast, but only 20 meters, but that's still 60 feet. And you have to see the doctor in the morning for an ECG first before they let you up there. It is so beautiful. They don't press a button and the sails go up. They sail them manually. They're small ships. There's 3 of them. Sea Cloud 1, we call her Downton Abbey at Sea. She was built in 1934. She takes just 64 guests. Sea Cloud 2, who was built in 2002. She's a halfway house between Downton and the more modern, and she takes 90 odd. And then you have Sea Cloud Spirit, the more modern one, that takes 132. It is an incredible experience. This is a tiny, like 30-second taster. an end of
Thank
our
you.
whistle-stop journey through Italy.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed it, but I'm going to leave you with a little taste.
Thank you.
Thank you